live and later to be uploaded to YouTube. If there's anything that we end up wanting to skip for a recap or anything like that, because we are about to do a little bit of a recap on this one, um, uh, there will be something in the description in the down below to skip ahead. So if you don't want to watch a recap, you can go ahead and do that. Anyway, so last week, or not last week, 2 days ago, actually, we started off in a new monastic tradition called Way of the Beast. And this one was inspired by a fan of the show, Matteo. Um, let's see, Matt Foreman, Matthew Foreman. And he had requested earlier on, well, he had just said he had said he wished that there was a subclass of monk that was able to shapeshift, because there was a interesting gif of a dog doing a backflip and stuff like that. It looked like a martial artist dog. And it was a cool idea that I thought that people might enjoy. So I was like, yeah, I can do that. I could do that on my show. But what we did was we combined it with another idea that I had like almost 2 years ago, like a year and a half ago, where with a monk that can harness their ki to transform different parts of their body into my idea originally was things like enhancing whatever that organ is to be better. So you could make your arm stronger, or your fist bigger, or something to that effect. You could do your lungs and be able to hold your breath for a long time, maybe be able to breathe underwater, something like that. But basically, that was my idea originally. So I combined those two concepts, and so that you can transform parts of your body into that of an animal and gain abilities from the stat block. And you can so the whole thing is about transformation, but it's about transformation into different forms, into mix and match eventually, and things like that. We also talked about the fact that there is going to have to be a limiter. Like if you transform your entire body, you'd be able to become the animal completely. And I was not able to reword this yet. I'm going to before the release, but it needs to be a lot more expansive than this. Similar to the druid, wild shape feature. Because I was looking back at the wild shape feature and I was realizing that it prevents you from casting spells for a reason, and I realized that if you cross class this subclass with anything else, and you gain those ability to cast spells, or if you take a feat that grants you spells, um, I'm not sure if we want you to be able to cast spells if you assume the entire form, and that also means that it needs to be willing. You should be able to assume all of the different body parts without becoming the animal, and then you're more like a werewolf style thing instead of becoming a full-blown wolf. That's my daughter in the background. So, okay, so basically what I was thinking was, or in this I was just saying you do that. You immediately take on the form. Fully assume form. I'm going to say you can. There's a little hole there for text too. There was a little extra space there. Perfect. Let's see, when you replace all of your limbs, torso and head with that of a singular beast, you can fully assume its form, growing or shrinking in size to match its natural growth pattern. So that right there is going to fix a lot of that right off the bat, is knowing ahead of time that we're going to do all that. We added it so you can assume the form, and when you do, now you're spending resources, and when you do that, you gain the extra hit points. You become the creature, and if you would die as the creature, you go to zero, and you go to 0 hit points. Rather, if you're reduced to 0 hit points, you assume your normal form and regain and come back up. And I will end up rewording that and everything like that to sort of match more like the druid. Because druids don't just do that. That is not. I don't think making a monk that dabbles in transforming into an animal, or that specializes in it, or anything like that. Monks don't do that normally. So that's kind of a monk dabbling in it. Druids do that all the time. So their ability to do it and what they do eventually with it is completely different. So that's the idea. I don't think we're stepping on any toes here. So at 6th level, you gain the ability to grow additional body parts to better match that of the beast whose form you are taking. When you take on a bestial form using your class feature 1, we hadn't named it. We still need to. Um, they call it wild shape. I feel like this is not wild shape, but more like maybe bestial spirit. Or something like that, or bestial soul, something to that effect, because you're using your key to transform your body. So your spirit is actually transforming your body physically, which is interesting. And then this one, yeah. So when you take on bestial form using your bestial spirit, I like that idea. I couldn't think of a name 2 days ago for some reason. I was trying for a while, couldn't come up with it. And I think I think that sounds good. I think bestial spirit sounds good. So, and yes, this is an old version of Word if anybody's watching. When you take on a bestial form using your bestial spirit, you can spend an additional key point to grow the chosen limb as an extra limb. You can have extra limbs in this way equal to your proficiency modifier. Now, the thing about that is that yeah, I think we're gonna say if the limb permits you to take or grants you, let's see, if the limb grants you a you know, an attack or a new attack, you can perform that attack as an extra attack. So I want to look up how they word extra attack again. I've done this before, where I've looked at extra attack and studied it. That was for my Dewata playable race. Druid, cleric. Where's the fighter? Here's the barbarian. They get an extra attack, right? So you can attack twice instead of once whenever you take the attack action on your turn. Okay. So so if the limb grants you a new attack, okay. If the limb grants you an extra attack or a new attack, you perform that attack. Let's see. As an extra attack. No. You can perform that. Actually, you can take is the correct term to use. Oh, take that attack. As a second attack when you, or instead of, yeah, when you, no, okay, I need to think of the wording here. Take that attack when you take the attack action. You can take that, let's see. As an extra attack when you take the attack action. So if the limb grants you a new attack, you can take that attack as an extra attack when you take the attack action. When doing this, you can attack twice when you instead of once whenever you take the attack action. Okay. All right, so we might need to word this a little bit differently. All right, let's see. Let's just go off of that. You can attack. Let's go off this first. You can attack twice instead of once when you whenever you take the attack action on your turn. Okay. Using this attack. Yes. I think your mommy can help you with that if you want to. Thank you. All right. Okay. Let's see. So let's look. Okay. If the limb grants you a new attack, let's see. If the additional limb or if the extra limb grants you a new attack, you can take that attack as an extra attack when you take the attack action. Using this attack, you can attack twice instead of once whenever you take the attack action on your turn. Let's see. When you do, you can attack. Okay, hold on. I think if the extra limb grants you a new attack, you can take that attack as an extra attack when you take. You can take that attack action. You take the attack as an extra attack when you take the attack action. When you do, you can attack twice instead of once whenever you take the attack action on your turn. Okay. You take the attack as an extra attack. I think that's all we need to say. And then we say, when you do, you can attack twice instead of once whenever you take the attack action on your turn. Take that attack as an extra attack. So I think that is worded well enough because people know what extra attack is. So if the extra limb grants you a new attack, you can take that attack as an extra attack. So while I'm not referring to a feature, to an actual feature, I'm not uppercasing this technically. It's not technically referring to the feature because this subclass does not have it. I don't think the rogue even gets extra attack. I'd have to look that up, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't. I think it's just gets advantage. It does a lot of stuff with advantage mostly. Let's see. I don't think it ever gets that. No, it does not. That was correct. Okay. So anyway, if the extra limb grants you a new attack, you can take that attack as an extra attack. When you do, you can attack twice instead of I'm gonna say on your turn, and then I'm gonna no, it's fine how it is. When you do, you can attack twice instead of once whenever you take the attack action on your turn. Maybe should you attack? You take that attack on you. It's an extra attack. You do. You can do. Okay, so that should be good. So if the extra limb grants you a new attack, you can take that attack on your turn as an extra attack. When you do, you can attack twice instead of once whenever you take the attack action. There's a whole lot of the word attack in here, and I wish I could remove some. It feels so clunky and awkward. I could say you can take it because if the extra limb grants you a new attack action, you can take it on your turn as an extra attack. When you do, you can attack twice instead of once when you do as part of, oh, you know what? You can take it on your turn as an extra attack. Yeah, when you do, you can attack twice instead of once. Anyway, yeah, we're gonna move on because I'm spending too much time there. That doesn't need to be that polished, day one. Or well, it does day one. This is day, negative something. We are gonna name this. This would be so. So this is, by the way, the first time that you're ever able to, in the recap. I realize I'm in the middle of recapping. And I started editing, but in the middle of the recap, I should have done that better. Now it's harder to skip. So at 6th level, you gain the ability to grow an additional body part. Okay, so we're probably going to name that now. We're going to say that you are now assuming more of the form of the animal. You can replace six parts of your body, all 6 parts of your body: torso, arms, head, legs, etc. So I mean, if you're a tiefling, you have a tail, and that's actually something I didn't think about before that I thought about since last episode. Was that tieflings are sort of and tabaxi and stuff like that, like tails actually make it harder to use this subclass. But anyway, that's just because you have to, replace it to assume your form. A DM could easily rule that that's not a substantial difference, the tail. So it's no big deal. Anyway, okay, so basically, though, whenever you assume 6th level, additional body part to better match that of the beast whose form you are taking. So this is going to be where we're going to name this something to the effect of, let's see. So we have bestial spirit, expansive spirit. We may rename that, but I like it. It's like you're expanding your connection to it. Highlights, by the way, like this gray one, are these grayed out areas are things we need to look at later. I believe this was because I was going to look at the different sensory abilities that beasts have, and I wanted to find out what that means, what we could more specify, what it means, and not just say sensory abilities. Anyway, class feature number 3, 11th level, your ability to harness your animal form grows to take on multiple bestial forms simultaneously. When you take on a bestial form because that's the thing is, bestial spirit is limited to one form. You just pick one. This one is going to be when you take on a bestial form, using your bestial spirit, you can choose a number of beasts you are familiar with up to your proficiency modifier. So that's going to be cool. Basically, that means that you can mix and match. We might, let's see, encompassing spirit. Oop, that's not how you spell encompassing. There we go. There's 2 S's. So encompassing spirit would be you can incorporate more spirits into you, more different types of animals into you. So we're on class feature 4. Now, what we were thinking about was you may regain the ability to take on your monk powers while fully transformed, or you may be able to lash out with the spirit of the bestial form. We hadn't quite decided what it was going to do. I was liking the idea of potentially being able to do your monk abilities anyway. I was not able to. This, by the way, if you've skipped ahead, you probably have already seen this at this point. We're going to go over these monk abilities because we're going to want to find out if each of these is something we want you to be able to do as an animal. So martial arts is what allows you to use your ki. Oh, no, it's not. Martial arts is what allows you to use dexterity instead of strength for the attack and damage rolls of your unarmed strikes and monk weapons. You can roll a d4 to place of a normal damage of your unarmed strikes or monk weapon. This die changes as you gain monk levels, as shown in the martial arts column of the monk table. That's important because as you take on your bestial form, eventually your martial arts die goes up, and we said that they are whenever you take attacks as in your bestial form, they count as unarmed strikes. And that is considered, when you do unarmed strikes or monk weapons, you get to use the die. So the power of your bestial form actually levels up with you. The amount of damage you do does, if we assume that martial arts applies, which is the goal. We do want that to be the case. That was the original idea for, that inspired it all. When you use the attack action with an unarmed strike or a monk weapon on your turn, you can make one unarmed strike as a bonus action. For example, if you take attack action and attack with a quarterstaff, you can also make an unarmed strike as a bonus action, assuming you haven't already taken a bonus action this turn. Funny story. Whenever I was DMing, I originally thought that was something anyone could do because you were proficient with your unarmed strikes, and I thought they were considered finesse or light or whatever was necessary, and I thought, yeah, anyone can do that. I didn't realize until about a couple sessions in that my barbarian should not be able to attack with his axe, then kick them off the wall, off the castle wall, uh, because that was apparently something I was granting that was realistic, I suppose, but a little OP. Anyway, key. Starting at second level, you gain the ability to do the key. You have Flurry of Blows. Immediately after you take the attack action on your turn, you can spend 1 key point to make 2 unarmed strikes as a bonus action. That's important. Your weapons here are unarmed strikes. Therefore, your claws and horns and stuff you get here from the beasts are unarmed strikes, so you can use those. Patient Defense, you can spend 1 key point to take the dodge action as a bonus action on your turn. Step of the Wind, you spend 1 key point to take the disengage or dash action as a bonus action on your turn, and your jump distance is doubled for the turn. That's really cool. I like all these. By the way, the martial arts die eventually goes up to a D10 at 17th level and above, and that will be finally equal to what a lot of beast horns are. But yeah, so unarmed movement. Starting at second level, your speed increases by 10 feet while you are not wearing armor or wielding a shield. This bonus increases when you reach certain monk levels as shown in the monk table. Now, it is important to note that the martial arts is saying you roll a d4 in place of the normal damage of your unarmed strike. So if your unarmed strike, he says you can roll a d4 in place of the normal damage of your unarmed strike. So you can choose to do it, or you can go with what the bestial form's attack is. And the martial arts only grants 1d4, then 1d6, then 1d8, then 1d10. It does not grant 2d10. So if you take on a bestial form that grants a 2d10 attack, you have you're probably going to go with that. We're going to have to look at those very closely. That's what we were talking about before, is limiting CR levels and things like that. I was considering making it to where you can't maintain the form for as long if the CR level is higher. That's one of the things I was trying to think of, but I didn't, unless we go into something like something akin to the math of Thaco, we're going to end up with, it's going to be very hard to take a positive number of a CR level and then turn it into a negative number and reduce the number of minutes maybe. So if we grant something like 5 minutes minus a CR level, then that would, that would make it to our CR2 level creatures you can maintain for 3 minutes. Who knows if that's a good idea. And that's for just the individual body parts. Maybe once you take on the full form, at that point, maybe you're not limited as much. But we were talking about the idea of limiting the full form, similar to the druid. These are all balancing techniques that we're going to have to go through to really hammer it out. Unarmored movement. Starting at second level, your speed increases by 10 feet while you are not wearing armor or wielding a shield. This bonus increases when you reach certain monk levels as shown on the monk table. So, speed increased by 10 feet while you're not wearing armor. Okay, that's cool. That could apply to your animal form, I suppose. Monastic tradition. You commit yourself to a monastic tradition, the way of the open hand, the way of shadow, or the way of the four elements. Yeah, no, that's what's coming here. Deflect missiles. Use your reaction to deflect or catch the missile when you are hit by a ranged weapon attack. When you do so, the damage you take from the attack is reduced. If you reduce the damage to 0, you can catch the missile if it is small enough for you to hold it in one hand, and you have at least one hand free. See, that's important. At least one hand free. If you take on the form of a wolf, it does not say one mouth free. Theoretically, your DM may allow you to do that, but you won't be able to throw it back at that point. So there's no point in catching it. You might as well just be deflecting it. The catching it is only useful for throwing it back or shooting it back. So, yeah, being able to deflect missiles is not bad either for an animal to have. Ability score improvement, yeah, that's cool. Slow fall, you can use your reaction when you fall to reduce any falling damage you take by an amount equal to 5 times your monk level. That's really cool. Extra attack, you can attack twice. Cool. Let's see, stunning strike. You can interfere with the flow of ki in an opponent's body when you hit another creature. I could have just looked at the extra attack in here. I don't know why I went all the way back to the barbarian. When you hit another creature with a melee weapon attack, you can spend 1 key point to attempt a stunning strike. The target must succeed a Constitution saving throw or be stunned until the end of your next turn. That's not something that would be OP for a beast, I don't think. Key empowered strikes starting at 6th level. Your unarmed strikes count as magical for the purpose of overcoming resistance and immunity to non-magical attacks and damage. Okay, okay. Evasion, your instinctive agility lets you dodge out of the way of certain area effects, such as a blue dragon's lightning breath or a fireball spell. When you are subjected to an okay. When you are subjected to an effect that allows you to make a dexterity saving throw or take only half damage, you instead take no damage if you succeed on the saving throw, and only half damage if you fail. Okay, so take lightning or fireball. Yep, that's good. Stillness of mind. You can use your action to end one effect on yourself that is causing you to charm frightened. Purity of body. Your mastery of the key flowing through you makes you immune to disease and poison. Tongue of the sun and moon. You learn to touch the key of other minds so that you understand all spoken languages. Moreover, any creature that can understand a language can understand what you say. That's really cool. Diamond Soul. Your mastery of key grants you proficiency in all saving throws. Additionally, whenever you make a saving throw and fail, you can spend 1 key point to re-roll it and take the second result. Cool. Timeless body. Your key sustains you, so you suffer none of the frailty of old age. You can't be aged magically. You can still die of old age. However, in addition, you no longer need food or water. And then 18th level, you can use your action to spend 4 key points to become invisible for 1 minute. During that time, you also have resistance to all damage but force damage. Additionally, you can spend 8 key points. See, perfect self. Whenever you roll for initiative and have no key points remaining, you regain 4 key points. Yeah, so going through all of them, honestly, right there, I can say the only things that will make this, that might overpower this, is actually the amount of tax the monks get on their own. Between martial arts, extra attack, and flurry of blows, these beasts may be able to use their horns for 2d4 or 2d10. Let's see, a good beast example. Let me go through the book. I believe we got dinosaurs in here that are probably going to deal a lot of damage, and they count as beasts. So, where are my dinos? There we go. Triceratops. Stomp, 3d10 plus 6 bludgeoning damage. Gore, 4d8 plus 6 piercing damage. Is a CR5 creature. So, what they seem to do usually with 5th edition is limit you in CR level and just use that. That's what they tend to do. Displacer Beast, by the way, is a monstrosity. It's right on the next page, but it's a monstrosity. Why call it a Displacer Beast? Why not call it a Displacer Monstrosity? So, the Tyrannosaurus Rex is even more powerful, with a bite of 4d12 plus 7 piercing damage. Challenge rating 8. So we may have to limit which challenge rating you are to something like 1/4 your monk level. I think that's how druids are. I could be wrong. I think druids are something like a division of your level. And that might be what we have to do. But it will be, I think in the end, because you can mix and match, you could theoretically, for example, take, if you're at 20th level, you could become a Triceratops and get the legs of a Triceratops and get the stomp. you could get the head and get the gore ability, while simultaneously you could theoretically grow an extra head of a plesiosaurus and get their 3d6+4. There are a lot of different combinations you could do here. Let's see. But it is looking more and more like if we do want to grant you all of your monk features, which would be really cool, then we're gonna have to like all the time. If we want to grant you your monk feature, if we don't want to take away your monk features, maybe take on the bestial form, then we don't need to give it back to you here. And instead, we can go with lashing out with the spirit of your beast, just unleashing it. So in which case, you know, like, and what we compared that to last week was, not last week, last episode, was Wolf Fang Fist by, you know, from Dragon Ball Z, or something to that effect, which was one of the coolest moves in that, and it just was underutilized. Don't know why. Maybe because Yamcha is weak and kind of lame. Your bestial attacks, I always wanted him to be cool, but not, he just wasn't. Your bestial attacks are considered unarmed strikes. Okay. That could be, let's see. Okay. Basically, if we decided to make it to where you don't get it whenever you're in your full beast form, you'd still get it whenever you only assume one body part, which means you could still, if we didn't limit the CR level, because we were going to instead limit to where you don't get your monk levels, or your monk features, then this would end up allowing us to take a T-Rex head and chomp people, just because we know what a T-Rex is. Theoretically, we could do it at level 1. So we know that this is not a good idea. If we look at it and say, okay, well, that may be true, but a T-Rex has 4d12 on its bite because it's a huge creature. Theoretically, you would reduce the number of dice equal to the fact that you're not huge or medium. But then we got to go and consider the possibility of small creatures versus medium creatures, players, you know, playable races that are taking these on. We scaled it down to your size. I think it's best just to still do the same damage because of whatever creature you take, because that would I mean, maybe that is a good question. They have some very powerful things. Basically, this is what I was looking at. What held me up in making alterations to this thing before is I wanted to do this on the air while I was looking at it, because I looked at them and realized there was a lot more to be said about this. Stuff that needed to be said potentially while people were able to see and listen and potentially comment back. So if anybody in the comments section wants to ring out about this, go ahead. So the Ankylosaurus is 4d6+4. The Allosaurus is 2d10+4 for its bite. If you're gaining those abilities to do that, if we take it straight ahead, like dinosaurs are like the ultimate beasts in 5th edition. There are other beasts in here that are close. I mean, polar bears would be amazing in here if they existed. I don't think that they do in any of the supplements. We talked about that last week too, about adding some creatures. Here's a rhinoceros. Let's take a look at that. Rhinoceros, CR2, 2d8+5 bludgeoning damage on the charge. It's got the ability to charge if the rhinoceros moves at least 20 feet straight toward a target and then hits it with a gore attack. On the same turn, the target takes an extra 9, 2d8 bludgeoning damage. If the target is a creature, it must succeed on a DC 15 saving throw or be knocked prone. So that's okay. So we've got a lot of these different. There's a reef shark. Saber-toothed tiger might be a good one to look at. Claw, bite, pounce, keen smell. Because I know the druids take on the form of a saber-toothed tiger, gain all its features. and its attack and its damage, but they don't get to flurry of blows. So that's the problem here that we're running into, is balancing this while still maintaining flurry of blows. Because bear in mind, flurry of blows, I don't think you can take all of these as many times as you want, right? It's a fuel variation. Yeah. It is unavailable until you finish it. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything here that's saying that you can only take a key, use your key to do one of these, like flurry of blows once on a turn. Theoretically, you could unload, just go in there and just bite with the current setup. Whew, okay. So maybe, okay. So growing an extra limb, we were going to give you the ability to make, you can take it on your turn as an extra attack. Yeah, we're running into a problem here, a major problem. This is really a puzzler. And I know I've probably wasted 10 minutes just wondering about this and going back and forth on it already. And I hope that I haven't lost anyone's attention because of it. But essentially what we're running into is, and we'll reiterate it again so that we can really get it in focus, is that it makes sense, and it doesn't make any sense to not do it this way, but it makes sense to grant you to make your bestial attacks, the attacks you gained as a beast from your beast form, to make them be unarmed strikes. Their scratches, their horns, their bites, their beaks, their things like that. All of the attacks you gain from a beast, it would be an unarmed strike, because that's how animals attack. They attack with their unarmed strikes. That's what they do. Now, the interesting thing here is that that means that flurry of blows and your martial arts skill can both be used to affect it, which means you're going to be you're going to be using fury of blows to do something to the effect of, for example, you could do, I believe with the dinosaur, it was Allosaurus' CR3. So if we do limit you to CR level, and we do it as like a quarter your monk level, then by CR3, by the time you can get CR3, that's whenever you are, that's whenever you're, basically just 12th level. You'd be doing 4d6 plus 4 bludgeoning damage. And then anyone who's seen a monk in action, watching Critical Role or playing one or being a DM, knows that Flurry of Blows can then do that 2 more times. And then you can do it again, and you can do it again, and you can do it again. You could theoretically just transform your head into, or sorry, that was a tail. The Ankylosaurus. That's the kind with the the big old mace on the end of its tail, dinosaur. You can attack with that. Challenge rating 3 for 4d6 plus 4 bludgeoning damage, and you could flurry it, and that's just one. Well, I mean, okay, if you have a tail, that's 1 key point. If you don't have a tail, that's 2 key points. So you have to spend an additional key point to grow the tail. And then you slam it into somebody, and by that level, you have 12 key points. So you now have 10 key points to drop into Flurry of Blows, which that means 20 more attacks. You could, on a turn, hit an enemy, and by then you'll have extra attacks. So that's 2 normal attacks plus Flurry of Blows, plus your unarmed strike, I believe. Plus, as a bonus action, you can do your unarmed strike. Yeah. So 3 plus 23 attacks for 4d6 plus 4. 23 attacks for 4d6 plus 4. And I don't think I need to tell you that that is a lot of damage. But just to get the math here, that's minimum with the modifier. If we hit with every single attack, the modifier of +4 will do 92 damage. And because it's 4d6 plus 4, that means also 4d6s per attack. So 92d6 plus 92. That's insane at 12th level. Now the original plan here was to go with was the idea of playing as doing a dog. If we limit it to 1/4 your level, let me make sure that is in fact how druids work, because that would be, if it turns out I'm remembering wrong, which I could be, who knows. All right. Okay, no, yeah, your beast shape is not 1/4 your level. It actually just it scales up on its own. Ability score. Oh, you know what it was? You know what it was? Right. Gain the ability to turn bonus. In addition, you transform wild shape. You can use a bonus action to expend one spell slot to regain 98 hit points. Circle forms. Yeah. So it was the circle of the moon that gets higher CR level. That was what I was looking at. I believe that's what it was, unless I'm thinking of the polymorph spell or some weird thing like that. So, yeah, beast shape at 8th level maxes out at 1. Max CR is 1. I am thinking about creating a table here and giving you a growth pattern. I don't think it would be the end of the world to max out at challenge rating 2. Well, Plesiosaurus gets a bite of 3d6 plus 4. Oof. So... Oh, wait, here it is. I think it does. Let's see. At 2nd level, for example, you can transform into any beast that has a challenge rating of 1/4 or lower that doesn't have it flying. Okay, no, yeah, that's... I see. Yeah, no, it is just giving an example of that. Okay. So we might end up having to limit it the way that the druid is, because it otherwise is just... I know I'm agonizing over this because I wanted it to not have to do that. But, like, for example, it's Pteranodon, flyby, 2d4 plus 1. That's perfectly well balanced. That'll work. You would be a monk with flying speed and flyby and biting people for 2d4 plus 1 piercing damage. And you could replace that with your monk thing, so it could be 1d10 plus 1 piercing damage if you want to. And that's all assuming you take on the full form. Otherwise, you could take on just the beak and then hit people with it. It's definitely a puzzler, but I think we've agonized on it for long enough and come to the same conclusion we've been coming to every other time. And that is that the beast CR level is going to have to be limited. And it will probably have to be limited to definitely no more, I think no more than challenge rating 2. Because we want to grant you all your monk abilities. Boy, it's been 45 minutes and we've just done this. This was a big deal though. This was an important deal. We've recapped and we've done this. I honestly do think that logically speaking, we can't go that high. Like the saber-toothed tigers CR2, 1d10 plus 5 or 2d6 plus 5. that may not be too bad. If you're doing those flurry of blows again, though, eventually you'll be high enough level that you can do that a lot. But maybe that high. Okay, 2d6 is it's kind of like 1d12, but your minimum is 2 instead of 1, so it's better than 2d12 or than 1d12. And then bite is 1d10 plus 5. So if by 17th level we give you the ability to go CR2, then this wouldn't be OP. This would be exactly what a monk would be getting with its normal attack, but you'd be gaining a bite that would deal piercing damage, and you'd be getting yourself keen smell because you're taking on the head in the process. Whenever you take on the claw, you'd get pounce. Yeah. So we might have to specifically go through. We might have to go through and actually specify which features you're granted off of these beasts. They have a very limited number. It's not a lot. For example, if you take on the leg, we can say pounce. We might even have to say if you take on the arm and the leg for pounce, because that's a okay, let me see what pounce is again. 20 feet in a straight line. It hits with, and then hits with a claw attack on the same turn. So yeah, we can say leg grants pounce because you had to have an arm to be able to you have to have a claw attack to be able to do to hit with a claw attack to activate the pounce feature. So we don't even have to say that you need both. We can just say you need legs. We were originally doing this where we were granting claw attacks if you take on legs. But I think we are going to do movement speeds. Taking on the leg grants movement speeds and jumping capabilities. Let's see. And hoof attacks, as well as the following features. And Wizards does not do this, but we're going to do inner bullets, sub bullets. I don't think that they ever do that. You know what we could do? The essence of the beast remains. Okay, what we can do, so we can actually undo this and say, like, this would be something that an official supplement would potentially have. And that means this can go back here. And we can say the following, granting you the following features, and we can list them. Or if we leave it like this, we could do? Just start a new paragraph. Remove it from the bullet. Well, see. Yeah, this should be fine. And then we just list them. And hooves attacks. Attacks with your hooves. Let's see, take on a leg. Grants movement speeds. Grants land movement speeds. Attacks with your hooves. And the following features. And then here we say, for example, pounce All of these are probably going to end up being italicized because that's how they work. That's how they do it. Charge. That also requires you to make a gore attack. So that's interesting. That also fixes charge. That's good. Sting. Let's see. Is an action. Okay. Spider climb. That's a good question about spider climb. You know what? Attacks with your hose. Taking on both legs. Grants the following. Oh, taking on both legs grants the following features. So that's something else we can do there to limit it. Like pounce, yeah, you take on one leg of a cat. No, taking on both, you get pounce. Most of these are going to be, so basically you will get the, I don't know, maybe what we will do, taking on a leg of the beast, grants attacks with your hook, grants, grants, okay, that's what we did wrong. Grants any attacks with your hooves, taking on both legs, grants land movement speeds, and as well as the following features. Pounce, charge. Okay, so this is like listing the names of a class. We're going to use that kind of the names of a playable race. We're going to use that kind of you know format. Echolocation, keen hearing, swarm. Yeah, so these are I think spider climb. Features of the beast form. So they have to be, they don't just grant, taking on both legs, don't just grant you these things, they grant you them, the following features of the beast form. So if the form has them. Web sense, web walker, yeah, we can grant those for spider. Web sense, I could really see a drow being one of these and totally just turning into spiders all the time. Web walker, casting the web spell and things like that. If they cross-classed or had some kind of magic swords like I created that let you do that. Echolocation, keen hearing, swarm. These are all swarms. Let's see, vulture, pack tactics, keen sight and smell, beak, pounce, keen smell. For this for the tiger. Warhorse, trampling charge. Trampling charge. Trampling charge. So we have charge and trampling charge. We'll probably rearrange these to be alphabetical order before we release it because it's easier to search through that way. Keen hearing and smell. Wolf has pack tactics and keen hearing and smell. Okay, so I think this is now going a little bit smoother because now you're granting these features to someone who has, you can mix and match eventually to combine different beasts, which is really cool. And I honestly, I don't think that that's going to be, like, you're not going to feel that limited by CR level. Oh, they do have polar bear. Here it is. I never saw this. Look at that. Variant cave bear. But anyway, polar bear, yeah, multi-attack, bite, claws. Man, this does very little damage for a real-world polar bear. This should be at least equal to a dinosaur. To some of those smaller dinosaurs anyway. But anyway, keen smell, that's good. But like seriously, this thing should be able to rip people's jaws off with a single claw attack. Makes 2 attack, 1 with its bite, 1 with its claws. All right, whatever. They do have a polar bear. I've been going on and on about that last episode and this episode. And it turns out I just did not see it. Water breathing, Cobra can breathe only underwater. Blood frenzy, the Cobra has advantage on melee attack rolls against any creature that doesn't have all its hit points. Spider climb. Webwalker, ethereal jaunt. That's a CR3 for the face spider and a monstrosity. And that is the thing, is that there are very few beasts that go up that high in CR level. So this is going to be, we may be able to format this a little bit better and nicer looking by the end, but this is kind of an idea that I was thinking. If we list the actual features you get, we tell you exactly what you get if you take on 1 and you take on 2, then you grant even more features from that creature. Taking on a leg of the beast, of a single beast, grants any attack with your hoofs. Well, I'm going to say of a beast. And then taking on both legs of a singular beast. Ooh. Grants land movement speeds as well as the following features of the beast form. So this requires you to do more to acquire things. Okay, as an action, you spend a number of key points equal to your proficiency modifier to transform the same number of body parts into that of a chosen beast. The body part is scaled to fit your body in size to be comparable to your own limbs, but the essence in size to your body of a size comparable. We don't have to or something that is comparable to your own. Okay, body part is scaled. Oh, actually, you know what? Body part. Okay, the body part scales to fit your body of a size that is comparable to your own limbs, but the essence of the beast remains. Doing so grants you abilities based on the beast's features. Okay. So now we enter a table. Now this is where all this stuff up here comes in. I've got a bunch of this is all okay. It's character selection from the player's handbook style makes sense given that this is a player selection feature. Enter in a table. Name the table. So beast spirits. Okay. Now we just said it had to be a beast you're familiar with, but we may actually make you. Might be interesting to flavor that to say that you make bonds with spirits after they've died or something, or while they're still alive even. But we'll see. Section of the table. Let's see. So we're gonna need level. This is a D6 one, but we're not doing a roll table. Okay. Level. Max CR. Oh, nope. And then we need to layout, insert to the right. No, max CR is not going to be this long, so we're going to just recreate the table really quick for beast shapes, and then we're going to change it. What just happened? This one needs to insert to the right there, so it doesn't. Yeah, we need to make sure this stays one row. Okay, limitations. Oh, we're not doing limitations. That was one of the things about this we didn't want to do. Because you cannot cast We didn't want to do limitations anyway. Okay, so the reason they limited it is because they didn't want you to gain flying ahead of time or swimming ahead of time. And then they didn't want to gain flying ahead of time again later. For second level, they didn't want you to have flying or swimming. At fourth level, they didn't want you to have flying. Because adventurers like to use things like that as, during for that portion of the game, they like that to be a challenge that you face. Eric Hakra have flying from day one, and a lot of other races have swimming. So it's not actually a limitation; just requires you to rely more on your racial background than on your class. So I don't think that should be a major problem to limit that. And I always found while playing a druid that I was, I mean, not me, but I've seen that people while playing druids, every single time they seem to be really annoyed by that. Not because overpowered, they just feel like it doesn't make any sense. Like they want to start off being associated with a bird, for example. You know what I mean? At first level, they're like, yeah, no, I wanted my character to be, like an Ashari from Critical Role. That wasn't a problem for them because they were at 8th level at the start of it, so it never was a problem for them. But if she had wanted to, I mean, she took on a cat form. But if she had wanted, let's say she wanted to be a bird form because she's Ashari, it would have made sense. But she's not allowed to until after 4th level, and that seems weird. So I don't like the idea of doing limitations like that, to be honest. We can do examples though, and we can list them here. So okay, now middle. If it's middle aligned, it's middle aligned. If it's not, then it's not. That is there we go. Now, so level, so you get this at 3rd level. This whole thing, monks get their subclass at 3rd level. So at 3rd level, if we do 1/4, then we'd be matching the druid. But I'm thinking this. Okay, now, so at 3rd level, yeah, and then we can do, and then they even out with one another, like the druid, but then they keep going. So we could, they double it. They go 2nd level, 4th level, 8th level. We're 3rd level. Well, we could double it too, and then they would get it before the druid would. After all, the druid that focuses on this circle of the moon, use bonus action spell circle forms. Yeah. All right. We're gonna double it because at 2nd level, the transform into a beast with a challenge rating as high as your druid level divided by 3 rounded down. Man. So we're going to go somewhere between the basic and the circle of the druid because we don't want to flurry of blows the world to death. We may at really high levels get to CR5 or something like that, which would friggin' fury of blows the world to death. You'd be biting nonstop. But what we're gonna do is you'll be a T-Rex at that point. And as anyone who has polymorph knows, or true polymorph, or whatever it is that gets you to T-Rex, I forget which one it is. That's a really powerful one. But at 12th level, we're gonna keep doing the multiplication thing. So 12th level, we could increase it to 2. Let's see how this goes. Multiplying that by 2 would be 24th level. I don't think we can keep doing that. Maybe we should just increase it by 3. So 9th level. Which would be 8th level CR1 normally for a druid. We already have CR1 by 6th level, and 9th level for the Circle of the Moon is 1/3 rounded down, so it would be CR3. So, oh wait, what is that? Starting at 6th level, yeah. So, starting at 6th level, they actually have CR2, and this is CR3 for them. So if we go 3, 4, and 5, then we would go up by, we go 12th level, and we'd go to 15th level, and then we would go to 18th level. So this would be pretty ridiculous getting to CR5s, and I think that's pretty powerful. So these other features, leveling up and allowing you to mix and match, is really good. Growing another head to gain the bite. We may not allow you to. Here's what I went too far. Here's what I was thinking for a little bit there. With this one here, after we went into it a whole lot, I may not do extra attack. What I might do is if the extra limb grants you a new attack action, you can take that attack action as a bonus action on your turn. So that's just saying, yeah, even if you don't attack, like let's say, I think this is going to be, we didn't ever said how if it takes an action or not. I believe, let's see. So, okay. Train your body to harness your access to the energies represented. Key points, your monk level determines the number of points you have. Okay, when you spend a key point, it is unavailable until you finish a short or long rest, the end of which you draw blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Dodge action. See, because the key points grant you the ability to do actions as a bonus action, or make 2 unarmed strikes as a bonus action. Oh, right. They're not able. Okay. Man, I can't believe I had that so wrong earlier. You can see how referencing, this is what I've always said, is reference. Don't just assume you know the rules. This is a rule that I knew, but I forgot about. Because I just misread it. I mean, I just forgot this one part, is that Flurry of Blows is only as a bonus action. Okay. So you can bite 4 times? Extra attack, extra attack, bonus action, 4 times. Okay. So this means that even if you're not taking Flurry of Blows, you can still make an extra attack with that thing, because oh wait, can you already do that as a monk? Did we just double up on a feature here? When you use the attack action with an unarmed strike or a monk weapon on your turn, you can make a 1 unarmed strike as a bonus action. Okay, so if it's an unarmed strike, you can already do this. Whew. Okay, so this is supposed to be an extra. Let's see. So the idea with this was that you're growing an extra limb. You should be able to do an extra action with that limb. Theoretically, attack with more, like, you know what I mean? Like, if you've got more than 1 arm. If you are only allowed to flurry of blows once per turn, because you only get 1 bonus action, unless you're hasted, in which case you can get 4. Then, if the extra limb grants you a new attack action, you can take it on your turn as an extra attack. When you do, you can attack twice instead of once whenever you take the attack action. You can attack twice instead of once, provided one of the attacks is made with the additional limb. There we go. That's the thing that I think we needed to say. to round that out. Okay, so now you can only attack one extra time, and you can use your key to grow extra limbs and attack even more. But we can also word this. I thought I had worded it such, but I don't think it's the case anymore. And that is that this is saying if the extra limb grants you, if an extra limb grants you a new attack, you can take it on your turn as an extra attack. When you do, you can attack twice instead of once. When you take the attack action, provided one of the attacks is made with the additional limb. Okay, all right. So this is still not right, because what that means is that when you get an extra attack at 5th level, where it says attack once instead of twice. You can attack twice instead of once, I mean. And what we know from, Jeremy Crawford and the Sage Advice is that when you have extra attack twice, then you only get to pick one of them. You pick one, and then you go with it. In this case, you get extra attack, but only with the limb. But only if it provided that one of the attacks is made with the additional limb. What we can say is if you have the extra attack feature, you can take the attack, or you can take the new attack action. Okay, let's see. If you have the extra attack feature, you can attack 3 times instead of twice when you take the attack action provided. Okay. If you have the extra attack feature, you can attack 3 times instead of twice when you take the attack action, provided one of the attacks is made with the additional limb. Okay, so we have level limiters for CR level. That is a lot of noise outside. I don't know if you can hear that or not. We'll create examples. I'll fill those in because that's something that'll just require me to go through a bunch of beasts and possibly create some. We've got Expansive Spirit that now grants you an additional attack, which is kind of cool, but only whenever you grow additional limbs, which means you have to pay extra key. So it's kind of like paying extra key early, rather than using, using the Flurry of Blows at the moment of the attack. Encompassing Spirit, that allows you to mix and match. This one, we are in fact going to we figured all this out by now. This was something we ended last episode with. You may be able to lash out with the spirit of the bestial form, so we can't end it again with that. In my opinion, we got to fill this in. So we are going to let you lash out with the spirit of the bestial form. At 7th level, you can unleash the spirit of the beast you have assumed. To strike at an opponent that you can see within, we'll say 30 feet. This is a ranged attack, because Wolfang Fist was somewhat ranged. He didn't have to land the blow, and I liked that. And also, I just like the idea of you, like, I'm really picturing like the Dragonborn saying Fus Roda and whoosh, and then spirit coming out though instead of a little burst of energy. And let's see. I'm thinking about personally. See, I think that grapple is not used often enough. I think that grapple is too hard to accomplish, and so players frequently will just not do it. I like to throw it in there and give it to people. I'm not going to make this just grapple. I'm thinking about it dealing force damage or grappling an opponent. That's what I was thinking. You could choose between the two. Because I'm picturing like a tiger leaping out of your body, or an octopus, or a bird. Whatever it is, it would grapple. Animals tend to grapple. That's what they like to do to fight. So beasts like to grapple. So what I'm thinking about is potentially making it to where you unleash it and it grapples an opponent. And then you can explode it. You can blow it up. You can choose to blow it up, sort of thing, and deal a bunch of force damage. That's what I was thinking would be cool. It would also be pretty unique. To my knowledge, there isn't something that has to make a grapple check. And I would say that yeah. So let's see. Hold on. So if we make that something where you've already spent the key points to take on the form. You're going to drop your form whenever you use this, and it's going to send out your form at your opponent. So as an action, you can drop your bestial form, harnessing it into, and we were talking about harnessing, we're using that term instead of like focusing or channeling because it's beasts. Sounds cool. Harnessing it into a spirit of its spiritual representation of its true form. When you do spiritual form, or yeah, when you do, it lashes out toward a target. Target that you can see within 30 feet. Okay, let's see. Strike an opponent that you can see within 30 feet. We don't have to say that here because we're going to say it down there. Whoop, press the wrong button. At an opponent. As an action, you can drop your bestial form, harnessing it into a spiritual representation of its true form. When you do, it lashes out toward a target that you can see within 30 feet. Attempts to grapple. I said target. It should be creature. Toward a creature. Lashes out toward a creature that you can see within 30 feet. Attempts to grapple. Grapple the creature. Now we can use the stats of the beast. I think though, if we do, let's see, strength. Okay, like Equipper has -4 to strength. Mastiff has +1. It's very rare you'd actually hit anything. Surprised Oh, I see. I was gonna say I'm surprised Octopus doesn't have some kind of like advantage on grapple checks, but he doesn't need it apparently. The tentacles attack, deals damage, and then grapples a target. That's actually not bad. Huh. And then you could turn into a, you could use it, it'd be an unarmed strike, so you'd be doing it as a monk attack. So you deal your D damage, and then instantly grapple your target. That's insane. And I don't think overpowered, just insane. That's really cool. Huh. All right. That's pretty fantastic. So we do have some grapple in here. Now we've got grapple twice. This would be the second class that I've created, or subclass I've created that had a little bit of grapple in there. Let's see. When you do, it lashes out toward a creature that you can see within 30 feet. Attempts to grapple that. Grapple that creature. Roll a grapple check. You know what? No, yeah. Roll a grapple check. That I was thinking that this would use your wisdom modifier instead of your strength, instead of the creature's strength. That way, because I believe you get wisdom, right? Or this is something that relies on wisdom. So that would be good. Yeah. Yeah, because your key, your amount of key, 8+ for your proficiency bonus. Or your key save DC. Yeah, so basically, kind of like your spell save DC is wisdom. So roll a grapple check. Or roll, let's see. Seems using your wisdom modifier instead of the beast's strength. Because this is a spirit, it's not a real thing, and it also is coming from you. Okay, so an attempts to grapple that creature using your wisdom modifier instead of the beast's strengths. The beast's strength. So because you're doing it, it's an athletics check. So okay. So beasts don't, okay, like T-Rex has a lot of strength. But I think that overall your wisdom modifier is going to be better even whenever you finally can become a T-Rex. So attempts to grapple that creature. And just so you know, anyone who's watching, we wanted to make it limitless. We practically have here. I don't, I mean, I could keep looking. I'm sure there is at least one creature that's higher than 5 CR that's a beast. But that's as high as I believe is in the original monster manual. I think it might have been an expansion that they kind of added that kind of thing. But anyway, I could do DnDBeyond later and check that before I finally release it and see if I have to tweak that. But anyway, so attempts to grapple that creature using your wisdom modifier instead of the strength modifier plus your proficiency modifier instead of the beast strength. Using your wisdom modifier plus your proficiency modifier instead of the strength. And that should be uppercase when making the check. The contested check. Let's see now. as a that would be interesting. Being able to do it as a reaction, but no, as a bonus action, I think that would make it to where people can't escape, and they should be able to escape. Otherwise, you just blow them up. And yeah. Anyway, as a bonus action on your turn, you can actually, if the grapple check fails, the spirit vanishes. So, let's see. You can dismiss the spiritual form. It's not actually spirit. I need to rewrite that. It's technically spiritual form. It's not the spirit of the animal. It's a spiritual form of the animal. You can dismiss the spiritual form as a free action. On your turn. If the grapple fails, the spirit vanishes. As a bonus action on your turn, you can make the spirit form unleash its energy. Harming the creature it is grappling. When you do, let's see. So the creature's already grappled. It's force damage all around it. I don't think this should be dodgeable. I think that once you're grappled here, it should be a bonus action detonate. I think that failing the grapple check is like getting hit or failing a save. So we shouldn't make you have to fail a save again. And they can just try to escape on their turn because it's a regular grapple. So we should not make them have to make the monk have to roll to hit or make the grappled creature roll to dodge. I think it should just deal the damage. So as a bonus action on your turn, you can, because the whole point of it being grappled is that you can't get away from them. Like a dex save to escape their grip wouldn't work unless it's on your turn when you attempt to escape the grapple, which is the only time you're allowed to attempt to escape a grapple. So this is on the monk's turn as a bonus action, so they're not allowed to escape. Harming the creature is grappling. Let's see. The creature is grappled by the spiritual form must takes you know what? We don't have to say harming the creature's grappling. As bonus action on your turn, you can make the spirit form unleash its energy. Detonating. Let's see, dealing 1d12 force damage times the beast bestial spirits, the spiritual form CR level. So third level, you'll be dealing half that. Maybe we should say so you'd roll once the way this is worded, 1d12, and then you'd multiply it. We would actually want to, this is something that's interesting. Oof, I do not have, can you see this? Wow, it's not even up. So at some point, I'll put this in here. I don't have to do it right away since you can't see it. But times should be the multiplication symbol. Because that is, I believe, how they do it. If I'm mistaken, I'll look that up. But basically, you don't usually say times or multiply by or anything like that. But you want to do like how this is the plus symbol, and it's not an X either. I mean, I could just do X. That's not actually right either. It's a symbol, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to check their format guide on DM skill. But anyway, as a bonus action on your turn, you can make the spirit form unleash its energy, dealing 1d12 force damage times the spiritual form's CR level. So that could be times 5. So you could theoretically do, 50, 60 damage on a turn. And that would be unavoidable once you've grappled them, and it would take two things. So the fact that it's wisdom plus proficiency, which is really going to be high for you, it's going to be really hard to avoid getting grappled by that, and it'll reduce their movement to 0. But then they'll have a turn, so they can attempt to get out of it on their turn, and they'll have to roll against your wisdom modifier again. Let's see. This is important. Creature. When the spiritual form makes a grapple check or rolls to grapple. No, I think it would be no. It rolls a grapple check. Now you know what? Rolls a check to grapple a creature or maintain a grapple on a creature. The modifier is your wisdom modifier plus 1. See the instead of the beast's strength. Modifier. Okay, so this is important because what I realize is when you do, it lashes out toward a creature that you can see within 30 feet and attempts to grapple that creature. When the spiritual form rolls a check to grapple a creature or maintain a grapple on a creature, the earlier wording did not include this, and that was important. That's important because that means you'd roll their strength to maintain it. The modifier is your wisdom modifier plus your proficiency modifier instead of the beast's strength modifier. You can dismiss the spiritual form as a free action on your turn. If the grapple fails, the spirit vanishes. As a bonus action on your turn, you can make the spiritual form unleash its energy, dealing 1d12 force damage times the spiritual form's CR level. So yeah, so at low level, it's guaranteed damage once you've grappled them. And this is how you reset too. I mean, you can always drop at will. I think up here somewhere we worded it that way. But at will, you can drop the form. But this allows you to drop the form mid battle as an actual tactic. You can as an action just boom, and then they're grappled. And then you're almost certainly going to that's not what I want to do. They're almost certainly going to be grappled from it. And then after that, now you're in a position where you can, for example, threaten to blow them up. You can say, yeah, so I'm going to question you, and if you don't, then the beast that has you held will detonate and destroy you, just disintegrate you. So as a bonus action on your turn, you can make the spiritual form unleash its energy, dealing 1d12 force damage times the spiritual form's CR level. Or the CR level of the spiritual forms of the beast, the spiritual form. Okay, because the spiritual form is not a creature. Times, yeah, we're gonna times the CR level of the beast, the let's see, that the spiritual form has assumed. Now, there was one more thing I think I forgot to put in here. As an action, you can drop your bestial form, harnessing it into a spiritual representation of its true form. You choose which of the dropped forms let's see, as an action you can drop. So, okay. All of your bestial forms, harnessing. Drop your bestial form, harnessing it into a spiritual representation of its true form. You choose which of the dropped forms to assume. Which of the when you do it, lashes out towards a creature that you can see within 30 feet. I mean, honestly, okay, there is nothing. Let's see. Okay, dealing 1d12, force damage times the CR level times the highest CR level of the beasts that the spiritual form has assumed or represents. Okay, we don't have to say this because you drop the entire thing. And instead, okay, as an action, you can drop your bestial form, harnessing it into a spiritual representation of its true form. So spiritual representation. Now we can say spirit form represents. That's fine. We reuse the same terminology. As a bonus action on your turn, you can make the spiritual form unleash its energy, dealing 1d12 force damage times the highest CR level of the beast times the highest CR level of any beast. Any beast the spiritual form represents. Of the beasts. No, yeah. It would be of the beasts. I don't know. Highest CR level among of the beasts that the spiritual form represents. Dispersing and dealing. Disappearing. Vanishing. No, yeah. Vanishing in a cloud of energy and dealing 1d12 force damage times the highest CR level of the beast of the spiritual form represents. To any creature grappled by the spiritual beast, the spiritual form. Spiritual form. Okay. Okay, this is all one sentence. It's very long, but I think it is actually correct. As a bonus action on your turn, you can make the spiritual form unleash its energy, vanishing in a cloud of energy and dealing 1d12 force damage times the highest CR level of the beast that the spirit form represents to any creature grappled by the spiritual form. Yeah. There you go. So you could deal a little bit of damage, or you could deal a lot of damage. You can do whatever you want. It's the highest CR level of the creature that you unleash on it. And we can call this Spirit Unleashed. Sounds pretty cool. Encompassing spirits, expansive spirits, and bestial spirits. So now we've gotten into this state where you're transforming to take on these forms, and you're unleashing the spirit, and you're doing all sorts of cool things here. So before, I think this may be the last episode about it. We're at the end, I think, of the episode. We're an hour and 39 minutes, about an hour and 40 minutes in. And I think this is going to be the last episode on this one. That I will be releasing this one after making the necessary modifications to this form here to make it not allow multi-classing spellcasting while in beast form. Otherwise, you could take this and then also druid, and then you could go into a slightly different CR range using your beast form here. You'd have to get this to 6th level anyway. Anyway, the point is that yeah, you'll be able to basically, you know, assume a form um, that won't break the game. It won't cross class. It'll cross class well because I will make it block spellcasting even though monks don't get spellcasting, like the druid does, and that won't be a problem to monk. It'll all be flavor text, not flavor. It'll all just be balancing text for specifically cross-classing, and most people won't. It won't matter for most people who don't intend to cross-class this, or who their DMs don't allow cross-classing. I'm gonna add in the features here for these specific ones. Maybe reword these too. I might add in torso because I have to for different abilities like water breathing. I think is going to be a torso feature. And yeah, and then we've got I'll check these to make sure about CR levels of beasts. If there's something that just have to add in here and it won't break the game to do so, then I may maybe make another range at the top at the end for D20, and they would have some kind of super fancy cool beast on the top, but that's not necessary. Expansive Spirit I think is good, and I think Encompassing Spirit is done, and I think Spirit Unleashed is done, but I will comb back through them again before releasing, obviously, and I'll do some playtesting. It's always a must. Playtesting is important. So basically, yeah, I think we're done for today. It ran a little bit long today. We have a recap you can skip at the beginning. Again, I'll mention that I will always put that in the description down below. And yeah, thank you for watching the show. So keep playing, keep creating, and have fun with your Dungeons and Dragons, with your friends, and everything like that. I'll see you next time. And tell people about the show. I'm not getting a whole lot of views or a whole lot of shares, but I do get a few. And I think those few people who are watching it seem to be interested. And I just, you know, I want to kind of expand my audience and get some people maybe to get into the chat room here to be able to communicate with me. I don't know how long it takes to build a stream. I know it takes a while. I know a lot of people are saying YouTube channels take a year to build up, and I've only been doing this for a couple weeks. So, yeah, so I understand that it's going to take some time, but if you're try and help me out here and share my video if you can, if you like it, if you like the show. Anyway, thank you very much, and I'll see you next episode. Keep playing.